Good morning and welcome to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips, president of the Palm Coast Flagler Chamber of Commerce, and I am joined by my co-host, Kelsie Lombard. Good morning, Kelsie.
Good morning.
We are reminding you that the Chamber Business Report is sponsored by Cline Construction, building the future of Flagler County for the past 30 years. Also by Smart Technologies, they make business simple. And Intracoastal Bank of Palm Coast, community banking the way it should be, member FDIC. And also by Katz and Green, Flagler County's personal injury attorneys since 1996. Our guest today is Helga Van Eckert. She is with Vidya and Vidya Pharmaceuticals. And so we are thrilled to have you with us, Helga, and love to tell the success. We were talking off the air before we started about it's just a little over 2 years that Vidya has been in operation here in Flagler County. So let's talk a little bit about them, the history, and how it got going, and where you are today.
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
We're thrilled to have you.
Yes,
and
thank you for being here.
There's such a great success story of vision and partnership, and it's exactly what we're trying to do in economic development through the chamber and through the county and through the cities. Your facility is located out in Bunnell.
Yes.
First one here in the United States. The company started in India, correct?
Yes, Bangalore.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about it. Let's give us the 30,000-foot view of what Vidya Herbs does.
Okay, so we're a nutraceutical company focusing on botanicals, extractions, teas, and saw palmetto berry. It's part of the reason that we're here.
Yeah, and obviously it's so we've got a unique situation here in Flagler County, and especially where you're located. You know, Bunnell is an agricultural region. So one of the products that you mentioned there, the saw palmetto berries. I'm gonna let you expand on these things, and then you've got manufacturing here locally that we can take care of, and then you've got a pretty good access because you're right on US 1, which has access to the rail. It has access to Interstate 95. So the three key ingredients, and I don't mean literally ingredients, but three key parts of the business is the reason why it's a good fit here. So let's talk about the agricultural region, and not everything is made with the saw palmetto berries, obviously, but that is one of the key ingredients that supports Vidya.
So saw palmetto berry actually is one of the primary reasons that Vidya ended up coming to Florida, because it's grown Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and it's much more efficient to be in the area where the product is grown. You reduce your carbon footprint, right? And otherwise, it would be sent to India to be to have the solvents removed, and then they'd all have to come back to the U.S. And it's a lot of companies are doing that, and it's just not practical.
Yeah, I can imagine the expense of transportation alone, just sending tens of thousands of pounds of saw palmetto berries,
hundreds of thousands of pounds,
halfway around the world. It's just not efficient.
Yeah, but that's the way it's been done. I mean, I think right now we're one of the only manufacturers in the U.S.
Without getting too deep into the details, because I'll get confused, but I understand that it has something to do with carbon dioxide, is how the processing goes on.
Yes, it's called supercritical carbon extraction, and basically the gas is heated up to a super critical level where it becomes a fluid, and the botanicals are put into the extractor under high pressure, high temperature, and then the oils are extracted from it.
Yeah. And so what inspired, and obviously this dates back to India, to the founders, what inspired the company for Vidya Herbs? Who would have thought to do something with these saw palmetto berries? So without the vision from somebody years and years ago, we wouldn't be here today, quite literally. So where did that all come from?
So the company is privately held. One individual owns the entire company, all of the international facilities. His name is Sham Kadamil, and Sham handles the overseas, and then his brother Chandra Kadamil handles the U.S., the sales and the production here. But Sham, it was a chemist and really a visionary when it came to becoming involved in nutraceuticals overall. They didn't start out with the saw palmetto berry. It kind of just grew. And we do a lot of clinicals. We do a lot
Hmm.
of research, a lot of development to determine different botanicals and how they can be used, what can be extracted, what products they can go into. For example, the saw palmetto berry, is used for prostate, but it's also big in hair growth and hair health. So we have a product specifically geared to that. And I think I mentioned to you before we started chatting on air that Nutrafol
Yeah.
is one of our primary clients, and I don't think there's anybody on the planet right now who doesn't know Nutrafol. They're growing tremendously, and their advertisements are everywhere, including in the doctor's offices.
Absolutely. I'm happy you brought up some of the benefits. I wanted to ask that. What are some of the benefits of what you're doing and health benefits that can help you with your healthy living?
Sure. So again, nutraceuticals being such a growing industry, it's something that's perfectly situated for Flagler County and for this region, being that we are agricultural, because it does deal with all natural products. So and blends of those products so that they can be digested or inhaled or whatever your poison is, I guess.
Yeah.
So not literally.
Yeah.
But the I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to ask about how it got here to Flagler County, because if you've got a company that's founded and at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, everything was exclusively in India. There were no U.S. operations prior to coming to Florida. Is that correct?
So Vidya USA actually was created in 2005.
Oh, okay.
The offices, they had sales offices because they have a lot of U.S. clients. So the sales offices were in New Jersey, and they had a warehouse or have a warehouse in California. There was no manufacturing at the time going on in the U.S., so this is the first U.S. manufacturing facility,
Yeah.
which is a big step for a company. It's millions of dollars of investment.
Absolutely. And so how did, and I think I know the answer because you worked for economic development for Flagler County. How did Vidya get connected to Bunnell? I mean, that's
Kind of a weird thing,
yeah,
right?
I mean,
India, Bunnell.
yeah, those two things. If that was on our bingo card, that one's not coming up very often, from
Yeah.
India to little Bunnell. But obviously there were some connections that happened, and they came and viewed the facility, and maybe even looked through the window because they couldn't get inside, as you told us earlier.
Yeah.
But ultimately chose to relocate here and open operations, or maybe not relocate. That's probably the wrong term, but to open an
Expand.
operation and manufacturing facility right here in Bunnell.
Yeah, yeah. It's, economic development, I'm sure you know this probably better than anybody. It's a relationship industry. And this is how you get your leads. You can advertise, you can put an ad in the paper, you can, market yourself just, as a kind of a shotgun approach. And that's one way to get in front of people. But the truth of the matter is, it's no different than when you're looking for a job or anything else. Referrals are always going to give you a one-up on the competition. And the sales team from Vidya USA were in California at a conference, and they ran into the guys from Designs for Health, which, as we discussed, is also a company that we recruited when I was here at Flagler, another nutraceutical company. And they had mentioned to Designs for Health that they wanted to open up a manufacturing facility in the States, that they felt it would be the right thing to do, being that so many of their clients were here. And they actually had a relationship they were talking about with Designs for Health at the time. And the guys there said, hey, you've got to check out Flagler County. You got to come to Bunnell, come check out our place. We'll introduce you to the economic development team, which at that point was myself and Katrina Friel. And they came down. We met with them, gave them a tour, talked about the benefits of being in the county, just kind of introduce them to a number of the politicians, the Board of Education, the people that they needed to talk to determine whether or not they wanted to be here, and showed them the building, which at the time was a spec building that was built by Butlick Pharmaceuticals, which was another company that we had recruited. Again, you can see all of the networks, the connections. They're they're not random when it
Right.
comes to being able to make something happen. And like you said, we couldn't get into the building, but the president was able to look into the building since it was a spec building. It was just an open floor plan, and said, "Okay, this works." And we started working on contracts.
Yeah. And that initial facility was roughly 20,000 square feet
Yes.
that opened 2 years ago. And you just shared with us that there is additional expansion coming, even bigger this next go around, upwards of 30,000 square feet in the expansion. What's the time frame for that one coming along?
So we actually, well, just real quick, they actually closed on the property in 2000. And then because of COVID, ended up sitting on it for a while. So we weren't able to open until 2 years ago when it was up and running. And then once we got that up and running, we started on the second building pretty quickly. It's been under construction for over a year now. We're just coming into the final stages. There's a lot of specialty equipment involved, specifically for humidity. When you're dealing with probiotics and prebiotics, you've got humidity concerns with encapsulation, especially in Florida, right? So, so we're waiting for special equipment to be built for us that we can put on the roof that will maintain a humidity of 20%. And but we're hoping that that's opened come February of next year. We'll invite you all to the grand opening.
Fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah, less than roughly 6 months away.
That's
So,
what we're hoping.
We're excited for that.
Yeah.
So
And I think probiotic is such a big thing now that people are learning about, and
Yes.
it's such a big part of your health and your gut health, and to be able to be knowledgeable on it and have the appropriate medication herbs to help you is so important.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there are unique differences with the products that we're bringing in, and I'm not a scientist. I'm going to try my best here. Akkermansia is one of the things that we've done a lot of research on, and we're working with a lot of companies on, and it's in a lot of products now. But the difference with what the product that we're bringing in to market is that ours is live, where a lot of times when you see that it's in the whatever purchase you're making and whatever materials you're buying that has it, it's not live any longer. So that makes a difference when it gets into your system. So it's a unique thing that Vidya is bringing specifically to the industry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have one question, and I know you guys said that you started in May of 2023. How many employees did you start with at that time, and where's the growth gone since then?
So opening day, there were 5 people. It was skeleton crew. We were just gearing up. I actually had left Volusia that same month and started with Flagler or Vidya full time at that time. We had a production manager, a quality control manager, a warehouse manager, and an office manager. And it was everybody's responsibility to start hiring at that point and bringing in the people that we would need. So over the past 2 years, we're in Flagler specific, we're up to about 25. And we're hiring right now. If you know of anybody good, part of the reason for coming here was to get the word out.
Hey, that's what we do. We make those connections.
That's
so.
right. It's all those networks, right? We're currently looking for a production engineer, somebody who really understands equipment and can help us to maintain the equipment and keep it up and running. Some specialty stuff in there. We're looking for production techs. Starting Monday, we're going to a second shift. So we'll be from our day shift will be from 6 a.m. until 2:30, and then our afternoon shift starts at 2 o'clock and goes to 10:30. So we're really ramping up production. That's just in the first building.
Yeah, and once you get fully staffed, and the second building opens, what's the? I mean, you don't have an exact number, I'm sure, but what's the vision? Does 25 become 75?
25 becomes 100 probably
Wow.
very
Wow.
quickly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's good
Yeah,
info.
and they're good jobs.
Yeah.
They're research chemists, production as well, specialty formulations people, and then of course office staff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we also have a warehouse in Elkton right now that we're trying to relocate to bring closer to home. So there's a lot of different things that
So
we're looking at.
A lot of growth and a lot of workforce that you're bringing here and your manufacturing company. I think it's all good that you're doing it all in-house and having it stay here in Bunnell. So that's amazing.
Trying.
Yeah.
We did purchase another property, I have to tell you, in Edgewater. So Volusia's are still close to home as well. But right now we're focusing on these properties. And Bunnell has been great to us. Alvin and the city council there has just been wonderful.
He's amazing.
Yeah, and they're so responsive. If we're having
There.
difficulty with something, it's a phone call. They call you back right away and help you not get around the issue, but resolve the issue, which is important. You know, a lot of people think when a company comes in, they try to skirt the rules, and that's not the case. I mean, we want to be within the rules, but we want to be able to move forward. Right?
We are visiting with Helga Van Eckert. She is with Vidya Herbs and learning more about their manufacturing and their expansion. That's a key word there, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We've talked about saw palmetto berries. We've talked about probiotics. They do other things at Vidya, and we're going to talk about that after this short timeout. We'll be right back here on the Chamber Business Report. Good morning and welcome back to the Chamber Business Report. I'm John Phillips. I've got Kelsie Lombard with me, and our special guest this week is Helga Van Eckert with Vidya USA. We are learning more about what they do there in the nutraceuticals industry right here in Bunnell, Florida, right out there on US 1. Not too far from the studios here at WNZF. Helga, let's talk a little bit about the sustainability. Obviously, we spoke about this briefly about part of the reason that you're located here in Bunnell is the agriculture is right here in this region. And so instead of trucking things or shipping things all the way halfway around the world to India, you can do some of that right here. And it's not just the closeness, but it's the processing as well. Sustainability is very important to Vidya USA, and I want to give you a chance to talk more about that and some of the details.
Yeah, it really is one of the key things that we are conscious of when it comes to the product because, I mean, nutraceutical is all about health and wellness and everything that surrounds that. So our manufacturing processes should be as well, right? And that's where the CO2 extraction process comes in. It's a much cleaner process than in the past. A lot of times it was done using an ethanol mix, and CO2 versus the ethanol is the CO2 is a natural gas. It is clean. It doesn't leave any residue on the product. We don't have to worry about it. You know, pharmaceutical uses it as well as nutraceutical. And so that process works out beautifully. The materials that we use, the saw palmetto berries, they're once they're harvested, they're dried, and then they're ground, and then they're put into the extraction. And the oils are extracted out of the berries themselves, and then the husks even are utilized. Like, we don't have a formal product that we promote as the husk, but it's utilized in animal feed, as an excipient in some of the other things that are produced, or it can even be used as a soil amendment.
I think that's really critical. Is it's, some of the byproducts, and I hate to use the term waste products, but it
could be considered a waste product in another.
Yeah, in other countries, in other regions, it would be a waste product, but instead of doing that, it's reused and in other industries.
Yeah. It's important that we try to keep a balance, right? Even when it comes to the harvesting of the saw palmetto berries. We were talking about the state recently put it on the commercially concerned berries are one of the commercially concerned plants in the state now. And as a result, and we're glad to see this, the state is actually taking an active role in monitoring the berries, where they're harvested from, and to make sure that they're not being harvested illegally, because in the past they've had concerns with people trespassing, collecting berries and then bringing them to the berry dryers for resale. And Florida has put in regulations now where the saw palmetto berry dryers need to make sure that they're licensed and that the berries are coming from property that has given permission for people to access and to harvest. And we only deal with those vendors that have that licensing and that maintain those records. As part of our overall concern for the ecology, right? Because you don't want to promote doing something the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying you all have your own R&D team that's doing the research behind the scenes as to what the products are going to be used for and used in. But then you've also partnered with the Ag Extension from the University of Florida for some of their knowledge and their research. So it's a great partnership there.
UF is amazing in what they'll do, and I've worked with them for years. Dave Dinkins is our representative here from the UF Ag Extension, and he's just phenomenal. He's met with Sham a number of times, brought different products to him. They were doing a sweet potato that actually tasted like a potato, so you could still have the benefit of all of the vitamins and nutrients from the sweet potato, but it doesn't have that strong flavor, and you can serve it with your, instead of mashed potatoes, you put gravy on it. So those are all things that we've kind of talked to them about. Right now, we're actually sponsoring a study with one of the professors at UF where they're looking at saw palmetto berry from a geographical standpoint. What's the difference in the berry if it's grown in South Florida versus Central Florida versus Northern Florida? We'd love for them to go to Georgia as well and compare that.
Yeah, that sandy soil here in Florida versus the red clay up in Georgia and parts of Alabama is going to result in a very different product. I don't know enough about it to know what the differences are, but I have to imagine that would be some differences.
Well, the amount of oil that we get from it, perhaps, the grade, so forth. It's you never know, and that's what we want to look into. And then we're also looking at the aspect of possible cultivation. Like we were saying, right now, saw palmetto grows wild.
They grow in my backyard.
They do, right?
Quite literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me know how many you have. Maybe we'll come out and harvest.
Yeah, I probably don't have enough for a harvest, but I've certainly got a few. Hey, I want to make sure we leave time to talk about probiotics and prebiotics. Essentially, the initial warehouse, the 20,000 square foot, is all saw palmetto berry processing right now.
Right now, yeah.
The new expansion is into the probiotics and prebiotics. I want to give you a chance to talk just a little bit about that. We got about 2 minutes left, so just talk about that new expansion. Obviously, we've talked about it before: economic impact, more jobs, more growth, more manufacturing, more things going on. But what's going on in the prebiotics and probiotics, and how are you doing some of that in the same facility with the spores and all the controls there?
So, one of the unique things about our facility is that it has the spore and the non-spore production that will be going on one side, one on the other. You don't often see that in one building. As far as I know, there is none in Florida anyway, because of the concern of cross-contamination. But we've firewalled between the two. And it allows us to provide product to our clients at a better price. There's economies of scale by keeping those facilities together because you have one production engineer, you have one staff for office work and so forth. The labs, we have 2 labs, but people can work in one lab for spore and the other lab for non-spore, depending on what product they're doing the research on at that time.
Yeah, the products obviously can't cross-contaminate, but they can be complementary to one another. So as you mentioned, economies of scale, whether that's engineers or facilities and equipment, even down to office staff. Because essentially the customer, maybe not the customer, the companies, because it's a B2B model, the companies that you're working with are going to be very similar, if not the same, just different products that are coming out of your assembly line, with lack of a better term there.
You're spot on. Yeah. And the nice thing about this facility is it will do cradle to grave. So we'll have the product, and then we'll have stick packs, we'll have encapsulation, we'll have tableting, all within that same facility.
And I have to imagine the vast majority would be into the pill form, or is it? Or
I'll tell you
am I
what,
wrong?
It's really interesting right now. There's so many creative ways to use that product. Look at yogurt, right? So you could have a yogurt container where one of the Akamensia or one of the other products we'd want to put it in the yogurt may not survive there for a long period of time. So you'd have a stick pack that you would put in there. Or if somebody wants to be able to put it into their water, like a Crystal Light, that kind of thing.
That's how I take my probiotic.
Yeah.
I think pills are kind of old school nowadays. Rather than remembering to pop a pill every day, I'd rather put it in my water or have it in my yogurt or something like that.
I mean, a lot of us do the shakes in the morning, right? You have the yogurt, the almond milk, the vitamins all go into
Yeah,
that one
my
mix.
collagen, my
Yeah,
probiotic, all
that's
in
it.
there.
Protein powder,
Yeah.
right? We're on the same page.
Well,
Yeah.
we got just about a minute left here.
I want to bring up one thing.
and we got everything finishes with a great wine.
Yes.
That's
And
dessert, right?
who would have thought about Vidya being in the wine business? But your leadership is a great entrepreneur, and there is wine in your industry.
Yeah.
I wanted you to tell our listeners that story because I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, Sham is an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, which is one of the exciting things about working with him. Is anytime there's a new idea, the man's open to it. But we have facilities all over the world, and one of our facilities is in France. And Sham was there going over the operations with the facility manager, and they decided to go out for dinner that night. They went to a local restaurant. And I don't know if you've ever been to France, but there's a lot of like little local, it's very community minded. And they were having dinner and they had a glass of wine at dinner, and Sham loved the wine. It was a Chenin. And it turns out that the restaurant owner owned the vineyard and was there, and they were open to selling it, and Sham bought the vineyard. So
It's not often you go to dinner and
Yeah.
buy a vineyard at the same
yeah,
time. So,
yeah.
so obviously,
I've bought bottles
Yeah,
afterwards, but
not
never the
entire
entire
vineyard.
vineyard.
So,
Yeah.
so I have
From
to imagine
berries to
that
grapes.
the wine is probably not going to carry the Vidya name
No,
necessarily.
doesn't have the Vidya name.
But there is a wine opportunity through Vidya USA that we'll look forward to learning more about right here in Flagler County. Potentially, there could be opportunities.
Well, we
So,
have our warehouse in Jacksonville right now because we need it to be temperature, climate controlled. But we'll see what happens if we can move things closer to home. It would be good.
We are thrilled to learn about your expansion. Again, 2 years ago when Vidya USA opened on US 1, there were 5 employees, up to 25 now, and with a new expansion heading closer to 100 down the road. 20,000 square feet currently, 30,000 square feet coming, which gets us to 50,000 total, and more to come. We're thrilled to have you here. We're thrilled to have Vidya USA here in Flagler County. And I can't wait to see what's next for what you're doing there, Helga. Thank you for your time
neither.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to close. We're hiring.
Yeah, that's right. Let's
Yes.
say it again. We are hiring at Vidya USA. So
Yes.
you can go
Check
to the
Indeed.
website and check Indeed, and we would love to add to our workforce right here in Flagler County. So that'll wrap us up here for today's Chamber Business Report. We look forward to seeing you all next Saturday, right back here, same time, same place on the Chamber Business Report.
Bye.